All right, let's jump into it. Where we at? 5-2 or 6-2? 5-11. Let's call it that. Close enough. 20th of November. Coming into the last third of the month, and let's sort of start off as pretty much pretty much always do, DXY. So, pretty interesting price action last couple of days. Look, I've sort of covered this. Obviously, I cover all the stuff extensively. We're right on the line here. A quick little breakdown of this sort of little setup here is we got this nice channel. Just focus on the blue lines through there. Um, and we had a nice little perfect break. As you can see, this is your break point, which is actually sort of perfectly on line, this 106.36, which I think was the gap. If we go way, way, way back, I think, why do we have this? Oh, no, it was those previous highs that we had back in, what was that, May? So, let's zoom back to where we are. Where are we here? As you can see, pretty much breakdown point here. First retest came right down. Second retest right on that break point, and now we're starting to commit to this downside move here. Now, would have wanted to see this crush and come down out the bottom here. That would have been a nice, obviously confirmation that we're sort of coming down a little bit more. Because if you flip this onto like a daily, have a look at this candle. That is a perfect sort of driver to just go boom and melt down here. But I wasn't able to do it. So you've got to be cautious with these kind of things because, of course, remember, look, this is the direction that we're coming down with this here. If you flip this one around, that's just like a little hanging man. And of course, hanging man is a slight reversal. Ignore the whole sort of part of this move. This move here, moving up, unable to commit to that downside there. So got to be cautious with this here. Certainly, it is setting up possibly a little, let's put this back the right way. Maybe a little bit of a top wick and then bang, breakdown underneath there. That'll be committing. I mean, look, it's overbought. This is on the daily. I have a feeling that like a little bit of sort of like Trump euphoria is kind of wearing off on the market. I think sort of everybody got a little bit ahead of themselves in terms of sort of like, oh my God, trade wars and everything. It's just like, oh my God, it's going to be. Calm down. This could very much still happen. But one, hasn't happened, nothing's confirmed. And two, we're still months off. And three, China actually seems a lot more uh, responsive this time than they were previously. There's no sort of real battle of like, oh my God, it's China. Like they've been, I saw one thing which used the word perfectly, humbled. And they have, they've been humbled. And this time they're not going into this saying, hey, look, you know what, boom, boom, we're doing what we can and that. And they've, I mean, do you ever see any headlines about Xi in the news? And yes, I understand that that's pretty much dependent on what the media wants to sort of display to you. But really, it's not sort of the same sort of rhetoric in that we saw, was it 4 years, 8 years ago, whenever that actually first sort of kicked off. So I think the market possibly got a little bit over itself, ahead of itself with this sort of move through here. I mean, this is a massive move. Obviously, election day, that's fine. But this subsequent move through here has just been an absolute grind pushing up through here. So anyway, that's just a little bit of an idea. But what we've seen more recently, obviously, are these little sells into it. So I'll start on a larger time frame, move ourselves down a little bit. We have a nice little bit of potential channel coming here. Ignore this little pop out the bottom here because as I covered the other day, this is more, oh, you know what, Carmilla's actually a chance. Well, we've worked out that that wasn't really the case, didn't we? That was all just garbage. But it has left a nice little gap down here. And what I guess we could be targeting, should we break this potential rising. Look, you got to think this matches up well to give a potential for a channel. I've covered this a little bit, little support here, little resistance here, kind of supported right along the line here. Apart from that, it's not a fully defined lower side. There's no other real level. I mean, you wouldn't really drag this out like this because this doesn't really match with anything else. So I wouldn't really be going off necessarily this low here. However, this is not 100% confirmed this time, but for the point of sort of just picking out, are we seeing this continued trend pushing through? We can use it. And we can say, look, you know what? If we come down here, this is something that will give us an early indicator. What I probably want to see is underneath this 105.30. Underneath 105.30, there's quite a nice little drop down here. We find that little support for that pullback after the election at 104.40. You break this. I know this is getting ahead of ourselves. You break this, you look to close the gap. That's a decent move down on DXY from where we currently are. That's a 2.5% move should that sort of play out. So I'll just leave this. So let's put it over here just for now. Just on this time frame as well. Current interval, leave it only. Let's get down onto a little bit lower so we can see what we're doing. So look, that is the potential for that. And if we drag this support along here, you can see that obviously, resistance, resistance. This is a little area that is trying to bounce. We got this big flare up last night, came right into that zone that picked out. You know what I mean? I thought maybe this sort of horizontal might have done a little bit more, but obviously bang up into this area, just yet confirming this sell down move here. Now, two ways you use this. One, you drag it through here and say, look, if it breaks this to the top side, watch out because you know what? We're going to be seeing potential little flag moving up. However, currently, as it is, what we are actually more sort of seeing is that Joe Powell's comments the other day, sold into. Retail sales figures, stronger, sold into. Let's grab this one here. Whoop. Pull this over here. This was Ukraine attack, sold into. And it's pushing down each time, each time, each time. So we're really sort of coming to a bit of a point here. I think underneath this support through here, that'll see a nice little drop off. As I covered a second ago, if you look at this on the daily, it does look like it wants to sort of drive down here. This is not looking like, oh, hold on, wait, we're about to necessarily fly back up here. However, DXY, as I've covered a number of times, price action is like that. As I said, like this whole sort of wave coming down like this, I won't bother going back and showing all the previous examples, but previously what we have seen with DXY as it comes down, for some reason, stronger retail sales, bang, flies up. Powell comments, flies back up. Ukraine flies back up. Like, you know what I mean? These little occasions seem to always arise, some sort of reason to go, hey, you know what? Let's buy a US dollar. Yeah, yeah. And it flies back up and markets bank sells into it. So, look, it is obviously being sort of pushed back down a little bit at the moment. We are still incredibly bullish. I mean, remember, we were coming down from wherever it was. Is this the... Yeah, so these are the real lows sort of down here. So, as you can see, still very, very bullish through this area here. So up around, yeah. So what we can do now is obviously sort of, if we've seen a little bit of a pullback here, um, you can look, support these previous highs, 23%. The pullback lows, 38%. Pre-election lows, 50%. They're all lining up pretty well through here. So realistically, look, we could be seeing a bounce from any one of these, like this. Whoop. That's all your possibilities. But most likely, what we're going to be seeing is this leg down here. And this is what I say with all these sort of things with the structure. This is you move up, you found resistance, we find support, whether that be sort of here, here, or here, then we will see another drive here. And this is the all-important leg, really, in my opinion, because these things can run and go on for ages. That's fine. You know this leg's going to be coming. You don't know as to how far. As I said, could come to the 23, could come to the 38, could come to the 50. I mean, hell, it could also come all the way back down here. You got to play this one as it sort of appears to you. However, what we do know is once this does come back down here, it will find support eventually, and this will be the important leg. Because if this leg sort of comes up and fizzles out a little bit earlier, well, that gives you your bigger time frame structure, lower high, and then we start to look at this. Or we come up and we do a double top. Then we start to look at this, or we go on with the show, and you look at that. So you do know that this leg and this leg are sort of coming with it all. It's just a matter of obviously sort of getting down onto those lower time frames and sort of drilling into sort of where we're actually going to see that. So main thing I'm looking for at the moment is obviously a break of this support through here. Where are we at? Oh, it's only 11. For some reason, I'm an hour ahead of myself on that. For some reason, I was thinking it was 12 o'clock. I'm like, hey, that's really sort of moved too much. So, anyway, long story short, we're on support at the moment. Looking like you probably want to sort of break through here. Is a little bit overbought on the, oh, sorry, oversold on the 4 hour. So would want to sort of see this obviously commit to the downside here, but yeah, we'll have to sort of see how this sort of plays out. That stuff with Ukraine last night seemed to be a little bit of a flare up. I mean, as you can see, market used it as an excuse to sell into. We saw metals appreciate a little bit. I don't cover oil, but oil popped a little bit. Oil went back to where it was at. Gold, which I'll cover next, is consolidating the highs. So I think realistically, this falling resistance is where you want to sort of get above. This obviously horizontal is a little bit of importance through here, but main thing I'm looking for is this move down here, and I'll say that this is probably going to give us a deeper sort of pullback confirmation for DXY. Then we'll sort of be targeting potentially this sort of support area through here, and then after that, this area here. So with this pullback, I mean, as I said, this comes to 23%. This could still come, as I said, 38%, still a plausible level. You will get a reaction from here, though. So what will happen, regardless of it all, is you'll get at least, at minimum, that kind of move through there. So, just keep that in mind, and that's sort of like, this would be a little price area. Take a little bit of profit in this area, wait for a move here. As it goes through the second time, then you can sort of start targeting this move, most likely down to this area over here. Boom, to this sort of effect. So they're the three targets that I'm kind of looking at the moment in the immediate. All right, let's flip across. We've got gold. Gold firing back in. So gold pretty much came into second price target. Remember, these price targets are price levels, not necessarily time sort of levels, positions, whatever. Regardless of that, what we are sort of seeing is obviously it came up into this area within like a buck or two of what the price target is, and it's just consolidating. We saw a similar sort of thing happen down here when we came into this first price target. Came up, hit that price target, consolidated, broke through. And now we're seeing this sort of dribble on a little bit. I thought we may have got a little bit of a pullback through this area, retest this level over here. I think it's a testament to the strength of actually this recovery move that it didn't even get that. There's no pullback through here at all. So look, I think we are sort of coming into a pretty crucial kind of point with gold because, it's funny because I chart these things on a few different platforms, one that I execute on and one that obviously TradingView here, which I do with these sort of daily reviews. And they're 4 hours swap at different times, so we have slightly different levels. One of them sort of being that it's sort of, if I can show you this one, so actually, not that. What I'll do is go bang. So as I said, this is just through a different one, and as you can see with this level here, um, we're very much sort of coming into a 4 hour resistance through here. So as you can see, this is actually sort of coming into it. It's actually looking to sort of push through. Whoop, whatever, doesn't really matter. Anyway, looking to sort of push through a second time. So take out those previous highs, and I think we could be sort of seeing a little bit more of a move up to the top side there. However, obviously, with this sort of set up the 4 hour here as well. I'll show you that one. 4 hour here, it looks like it's still got a little bit more area to move. So maybe where do I have it cut? Maybe I cut a bit more like this. Regardless, this is the level you want to sort of see it be. above sort of 65.50. Look, give yourself a little bit of extra sort of sort of space through here. If we see this push through 50, I think we're going to start to see little people go hot and wait. Was this whole gold thing a bit more of a shakeout? Are we going to see a steeper recovery up to, say, 27 is probably realistically the next target we could be looking at? I mean, you're going to see a little bit of a reaction from 64 body fill of this larger drop down. But I would say most likely you could realistically be targeting 27 on a break of 26.50. So still some upside. It is overbought, yes, but we have sort of seen this negative divergence play out very well. Look, it's consolidating at the moment, so there's no point to sort of like get too excited about it all. But certainly we're coming into an area where if you want to be selling this, this is what you want to see here. You want to see this drive back down here. If this continues to push up on such a sort of steep gradient, we could be looking at a very steep sort of like, V-shaped recovery, and I think that could be sort of snapping and really squeezing out a bunch of the shorts. Because remember, this came incredibly fast, incredibly sharp, and I covered it on the weekend. That the other times that we've seen these really sharp, direct moves down have sometimes, well, not sometimes, more often than not, resulted in massive new highs. We got to this level up over here, 27.87. 28, 28.20, these kind of areas people were talking about, and they're like, yeah, this is going to be, the big sort of thing, 2800, very close. Everybody's looking for that. And when everybody's looking for it, well, that's a good time. They can just go, let's just rip it out, bang. Doesn't matter where your stops were, through here, through here, through here. Everybody here is taking it. Everybody back to, September, which is only 2 months, has been taken out. So look, this is still a plausible move to see it revisit the lows, but I'm still in the camp that we'll probably see this because with DXY potentially looking to sort of pull back a little bit more, if we do see that break of those levels, I work on a 90 to 10 sort of ratio in the sense of 90% of the time they'll run very nicely inversely, 10% of the time they'll run together. At the moment, like they were both running together. I thought gold was going to crack. It didn't. DXY kept going. Then they reverted back. DXY to their normal sort of state, which DXY kept going. Gold pulled back, and they're still in that state at the moment. So we've seen sort of DXY sort of really sort of go pretty flat the last couple of days, and gold's been appreciating. So if we see DXY sell off, then we could sort of definitely see that the flows come out of DXY back into the metals and push it up. Because remember, a lot of the people made money very quick, very sharply on this DXY move. If, they do turn out to be a little bit overblown and people go, well, hold on, wait, Trump isn't in office yet. Hold on, wait, maybe China isn't really the massive trade war threat that it was 4 years ago, 8 years ago, or whatever. Maybe we got a little bit of ahead of ourselves. People are going to take profit because that was a very short, sharp, hard move, and it wasn't even just the election. Remember, ever since that 50%, 50 base point cut, it's been ripping up. 600 points or something on DXY is a big move. That's 6% in a month and a half, 2 months or so. There's a lot of profit on the table. And the point being is that if people say, hey, you know what, the mad driver to get this off to the top isn't there anymore, they're going to take profit. And that profit needs to go somewhere. That's the thing. The job is to find out where are the flows going. And the flows coming and the profits coming out of DXY, is it going to be coming? Well, it's going to be going into the euro. It's going to be going into, a number of assets, and that could see equities push a little bit more. But what I trade is metals, and that could definitely be the driver to get gold to get this breakout through here. But first things first, 26.50. I want to see it above there. Even just sort of this 26.60 through this zone. Through this zone is kind of where you want to see it go. But I think once you see it sort of break this falling resistance through here, I think you're going to see you know, a lot of the sort of talk around the metals change. So let's see how we go. At the moment, consolidating the highs, a little bit overboard on the 4 hour. As a daily look, daily looks like it wants to go in terms of RSI. So if this continues to push, I'd be looking 20. I'd be sort of targeting 2700 really. I think this could very much sort of pop back up over here. I mean, look, it could go higher, but I think 2700 is a conservative target on a break of, let's say above 60, because that was the body closures of that first big sell down there. So let's put a little price target there. On a break of this, I mean, we're not really seeing, look at this, it's like no bottom wick, no bottom wick. It's just straight up with it all. But of course, through this falling resistance, through this little horizontal here, and I think that's your price target to go through there. So, oh, there's this one, up through that. Yeah, there's no real sort of measured move or anything you can place to that. It's just, as I said, that's just where, through structure, I think you will probably see sellers try to give it another go. All right, rock along. We got silver. Silver also trying to sort of get back up there. It's actually underperforming gold a little bit just at the moment. Questions with this, are we going to see the continuation here? If we see the continuation on gold, silver's definitely going to pop along with it as well. Let's get this out of the way so we can see what happens here. Gold silver ratio is something to keep an eye on, certainly both with gold and also silver. But you know, we're seeing that really sort of test on the line at the moment. You want to see that sort of break down. Once we said, I've gotten a little alert, actually, I might as well just show it now. Through this zone, through here, which, let's go onto the lower time frame, you can see they're definitely trying to defend this line through here. Bang, bang, bang. If this rolls over and revisits this level again, I think that could be the one that breaks it. I saw a good analogy a while ago, but if you think about it like a ball, it's sort of like on a table. It goes boom, bounces, boom, bounces, boom, bounces, boom, boom, and then eventually falls off the edge. Make it like this, just for the dramatic effect, I suppose. Uh, but yeah, so I thought that was a pretty good sort of analogy of how these things work. And as you can see, each bounce it's coming to the bottom, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, and then eventually just bang. If this happens, this move through here, whatever, darker, this one. If this move happens through here, this is what we'll sort of see coinciding with gold breaking out. And also we'll see it with silver, obviously, sort of appreciating a little bit more as well. So we've just got to obviously get the confirmation. So this is where we've got the alert. So set up just underneath this little table edge. And if we do get a drop down here, most likely we're looking like a pretty straight shot down to retest these levels over here where we've got it marked out. So it is trying to defend it for now. Look, get it back above this previous high, and then you may negate this part of the move, and you may see a little bit of a drift up over here. This could go in line, as I said, with the possibility of those rejections as well. So if remember, if we put it back onto gold, this is obviously still a possibility. Moving down, support, move up, find resistance, boom, going here. This is either going to come from here or come from here, in my opinion. But if you break through this level, this is the target that we're looking for. And as I said, this is what we'll be looking for at the same time, that you'll probably see this gold-silver ratio break down through this level through here. Not necessarily one-to-one, as in like you hit this level here, you hit the price target over there, but general direction of it all. With silver. So price target based on this sort of wedge through here, obviously still gives us back up at that 61%. This is obviously a horizontal area as well. So 32.80. So still a little way to go. We have seen obviously the breakthrough here did reject actually. If we look at those pretty much perfectly, This is what I was saying the other day. This is the area that we were going to have a bit of issue, top of that wick, which you can see, within a cent or two. Saw that move, pull back, came down a little bit deeper than probably sort of thought, but it gives us a nice line to work off. So you take out these highs here. That'd be confirmation on your next leg. It is a little bit concerning on these 4 hours that they are so overbought and they are rolling a little bit. It doesn't mean that it's stuff because these things can stay overbought for a while. It's not like it can't sort of continue in an overbought state. It just puts it, again, you're scoring these things on, obviously the fundamentals way into it all, but obviously, as I'm saying, the technicals as well as to, um, you know, how many factors are pointing to continuation, how many factors are pointing to consolidation, how many factors are pointing to a pullback. So at the moment, you've got your break, you've got your pullback, higher high, confirmation, we move on. It's obviously an area that we sort of said, look, the market would like to sell it from here. They did sell it from there a couple of cents prior. This is that little fake out move just before it actually jammed down. I think this was off CPI the other week, actually, when it sort of faked to the top side. Everything looked okay, and then boom, actually jammed right back down. But again, you can see negative diversions on the 4 hour here has really paid off for a nice sort of move back through here. But 12, I found actually at the moment it's a bit more 12:30. We're seeing a little bit more volume. So well, we at hour 10 now. We'll see a little bit of volume come into the metals market. Certainly above there, we see the continuation. I think, look, as long as you can stay above 31, you're okay for the moment. Break back below 31, it may be a little bit of a fizzle out, and you may be sort of looking more back around these kind of levels, potentially for a deeper sort of pullback. Yeah, nothing really sort of lines up perfectly here. I mean, 23%. As I said, look, if you look at this through this as its move, 23% pullback. We know that's super bullish. If this takes out the highs, that'll give you another sort of idea that you're just seeing a stronger sort of continuation, and probably looking up around 32 would be the next level. So through around 32 would be probably the next level. Possibly see some reaction at 31.85. But certainly if this breaks the highs through this move here, with this being its only pullback, we should see another nice little leg higher. Cool. And Aussie kicking back into it, really sort of moving through here now. Pullback yesterday, a little bit deeper than I thought, just based on uh, what was happening sort of with the Ukraine sort of situation, but very much hit the structural move. So as we see, this is obviously 80s was a level that was quite a strong sort of resistance. And as I sort of say, support, resistance, same thing. You can see resistance here, tried to hold it for support, didn't, broke through, found for the next level. This is the 80s, and this is where we found it, bang, and we're off. So look, it's moving along quite well here. It's actually sort of coming through this sort of 25 sort of 65.30 area. Above 65.60, you might sort of see a little bit more with it all, but certainly looks like it wants to sort of keep moving a little bit here. Again, same as the metals, pretty overbought on the 4 hours, which leads to the idea that you could see a little bit of a pullback, but certainly at the moment the bounce is looking quite good. Next fib level is 65.60, and then pretty much back up to 66 gives us a 61% retracement of just the Trump move, election move, whatever. Because remember, this is the actual move through here, and then we had this wish-wash kind of area through what's called through the election period. So you know what I mean. That's your major level to get above the election bounce high, which is back up at nearly 67. So still 150, 160 points off. But for the moment, look, it's looking fairly decent, fairly constructive. One move up, pull back, next move, leg, moving forward. I'd expect this, as I said, look, probably around 57, You can see this is a bit of a support area through here. Above that, 61%. That's your sort of your short-term price target, which is still another sort of 50 points up. So, if we do see DXY sort of sell down, and this is what I was saying, it won't necessarily go all the way down in one go. But if we do see, excuse me, that sort of breakdown, if we see metals break out, then there's a good chance we see Aussie also push up. And 65.90, we know 90s is always an area of issue, both directions generally for Aussie. This is an area that you potentially see a little bit of profit taking. Move up to here, and then you look for your pullback, and then move up like this as well. This also seems to come in perfectly with this falling resistance through here as well. So this is pretty much where I'll be sort of targeting at the moment, this 65.94. And sort of see what happens when we sort of come in around here. Okay, and flipping along, so I just quickly sort of go through. We got copper. Copper bouncing back nicely here. It's not a straight line by any means for it. Coming back into that first pop highs. If we go through this level here, you can see actually if you match this up through here, they've very much tried to hold it here, hold it here, hold it here. I would imagine a fairly sort of quick move should we go through this level here. Same sort of deal with it all. Look, I think if Aussie pops, if gold pops, if silver pops, copper's going to sort of follow suit with it all. This looks like a nice clear sort of run from through here. 38%, 38% retracement of that secondary move from the election. As you can see, that was the bounce back up, and then obviously just got crushed. So 38%. So this is a good example of what I was sort of talking about before. You've got your move down, you find support, you move up, find resistance at the 38%. That's fine. We know that's strong continuation levels. This leg is the leg that's all important. This is what I talk about. This is leg 1, leg 2, leg 3. This is the one that's either going to give you double bottom continuation or higher low. And in this case, we saw buyers moved up their bid. So the buyers were sitting down here. They said, look, you know what? Selling it down. I'm happy to step it up. Bang. And now we're seeing the high low come in. High low, obviously dribbling back up through here. This is the line you want to see taken out, this 38% retracement. Because obviously this is the level where market said, look, you know what? Actually, we're going to give it another push. We're going to drive it down again. And that's where they sort of came. So I'll pop at this level here. So let's just put in a little alert. Taking out 38% fib. Oops, too many. Let's delete some of these. Oh, no. Ah, I'm going to delete the old ones. There we go. Boom. So yes, I think this is a fairly sort of crucial line for us to get above here. But again, look, this is going up bit by bit, step by step. That's another 1% if you can sort of get through this level here. This almost pretty much seems to line up quite well with this potential for a channel. So if you do get a pop up here, what you're potentially looking for is obviously a move up to this level here. Let's get this back onto. This one's good. And then you look, most likely you got a bit of resistance here, which lines up pretty well with a little channel here, and then maybe a little bit of a cooling off. As to whether you come back down to here or come across here or whatever, we'll play that by ear. Most likely, I'd say retest of this little area here. Like, it won't necessarily guarantee that this is a channel, but I would say more likely the horizontal would overtake the level here. But previous lows with potentially the same angle coming up here gives me an idea that that'd be an area in which we'd probably see the market value that to sort of try and sell it down a little bit, should we get the pop of this 38 level. All right, and finally come across with China. China seems to be sort of holding up. I thought this would have come down a little bit quicker, but obviously we haven't seen it sort of commit as of yet. But as you can see, same sort of thing with DXY. They're just selling into this stuff to make it a little bit of a channel. So it means that basically you could sort of see this, should this line break, a decent move up to the top side. However, we had this sort of wedge. It broke, retest. You would have wanted to see this melt down and come down a little bit further. As you can see, this you expected a little bit of a rally effort up here. Obviously came in a little bit higher than where we kind of would have thought it would have come in. But comes back up, retest, comes down here. Line still remains the same. Underneath 721 is where we want to see it. So fixings I've started sort of covering in that. So I'll cover the 3 days. So I'll update them each day. So obviously through yesterday, we're up around this level over here, 2 days in a row. They've really put this fixing 719 a little bit stronger for the yuan, so weaker on this particular chart. To see how this sort of really reacts to it all, see if this can drag it, see if it can use as a bit of an anchor to sort of pull this thing down. So I'll have to sort of wait to sort of see how this sort of plays out. Excuse me. But yeah, certainly that's the line to beat down the bottom over here, underneath 721. Then I think 719 where that fixing is, and then that little measure move price target are the 2 areas that we've been kind of looking for. So here and here would be our targets. All right, cool. That's pretty much it there. So update this, see if we got any news. We had a bit of CAD data out overnight. This is another thing that just sort of weighed on DXY a little bit with a stronger or better sort of stronger, higher, hotter, I think is the best term for CPI's hotter CPI report. As you can see, obviously a little bit higher, more in the camp of, okay, we need to sort of hold rates. We probably not cut so drastically. I think the thought is that they are still pretty much going to cut and they're pretty much guaranteed or sort of moving in that direction. So it doesn't really change things a great deal, but as I said, that's how the market will react, and as we saw it happen. A bit of China data out today in half an hour as well. 2 seconds. All right. Yeah, so let's have a look through. We got, yeah, pretty much that flat data coming out of China there. CPI in UK, 1.7. Geez, I didn't realize they got it down so low. A little bit of a push up there. So maybe this is a little bit of a trend that's happening, because I know a lot of the fear is around that there's going to be a resurgence. Everybody keeps referencing, this is what happened in the 1970s, and overlay charts of what happened back then and act like it's guaranteed that it's going to happen this time. And look, it very much could. I mean, that's how you do these things. You look at how prices reacted in the past, but this may sort of add in a little bit to that sort of theme that we are seeing things tick up a little bit. Core 3.1, so core down and then year on year up. Interesting. That's pretty much it through the day today. Again, Asia pretty quiet apart from that sort of China data there. And through tonight, nothing, a couple of speakers, Lagarde from ECB. This is one to keep an eye on as well. There's UADA, the BOJ governor. So everybody's talking about a stronger yen potentially at the moment. And with that, obviously, it's coming with hikes. They're obviously notoriously low with their cash rate. So it's pretty much a guarantee that they are going to be hiking at some stage. But he came out and spoke the other day and really smacked it down. And you saw that happen. But it was only a knee-jerk reaction. These aren't sort of massive things that fully shift the market. It's just, again, it's just talk. See what Bullock has to sort of say. That was one thing I will say actually as well. We came out with the minutes, of course, yesterday and quite hawkish still. So I think this is certainly something that adds into the camp of um, Aussie potentially to stay a little bit stronger. I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks and that if we do see that sort of sell down, like remember we saw the sell down just after where are we at here? So that second come down here now. Where we at? This move through here really outperformed the rest of the market when DXY pulled back. DXY pulled back 61% through this move, through its move on its pullback after the election. We went 121% fib retracement. So should the market come up and sort of say, hey, look, you know what, we're going to sort of sell off US dollar a little bit here. The fact that RBA is still very hawkish, still talking very hawkish, haven't budged with that, minutes support this, shows that it's very much a place that people are going to want to park their flows. All right, and look, that's pretty much it. We'll sort of cover tomorrow and Friday as we sort of get to it. All right, that's it from me.